Hey everyone, today I'm sharing a story I came across on Reddit. It's not a made-up creepypasta. It's someone's real-life experience. And honestly, it's disturbing. Whether it's true or not, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But it really stuck with me.
If you like real horror stories like this, feel free to hit subscribe, give this video a like, and let me know in the comments what you think about it.
All right, let's get into it.
Curious. We had been friends for 13 years, and in all those years I had not once slept at his house. So, why the sudden invite? I asked, settling the duffel on my shoulder. He held the door open, eyes darting briefly. Rushed tone. "My parents are going out," he said quickly. "Figured it's about time you saw my humble abode." Uneasy admiration. The house was not a humble abode. It was a towering white clapboard house, ancient and commanding, standing like a monument as the town had grown around it. Gnarled oaks loomed over the grounds, casting long shadows across the neatly trimmed lawn. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of polished wood and something deeper, something damp, like turned earth after a fresh rain. Unsettled, nervous energy. His mother was a petite woman with sharp movements, her smile frantic, too wide and too bright. It never reached her eyes. She flitted between rooms, offering drinks and snacks, like she was trying to outrun something. His father sat in a large leather chair. He did not speak. A solid man with dark, unblinking eyes that tracked us as we passed like a predator evaluating its prey. I caught her whispering to him, quick, desperate words I couldn't make out. At exactly 7 p.m, his parents left, trying to sound casual. "So, what's the plan?" I asked, dropping my bag on the floor of his room. The room was a small island of the ordinary in that house, a tiny rebellion against the ancestral shadows that clung to the walls. Posters hung crooked on the walls. The bed was unmade. A console blinked in standby mode before the TV. Relief. It felt normal. Like a place where teenage boys just played games and talked about life, the only place in that house that didn't feel like it belonged to the dead. "Pizza, video games, the usual," Leo said, kneeling to power on the console. His fingers moved smoothly, but I saw it. The tightness in his neck, the forced stillness. He was trying too hard. We ate, we laughed, we played, and for a while I forgot. Brief ease. I forgot the heavy-eyed father, the twitchy mother, the way the house seemed to listen. For a while it was just two friends and digital mayhem on a glowing screen. Sudden shift. Then, near 9 o'clock, he paused the game. Awkward hesitation. "Hey man," he said, still not looking at me. He twisted the controller in his hands like he was wringing the truth out of it. "There's just one weird rule my parents have." I raised an eyebrow. "Weird rule?" Serious, flat. He looked up, eyes heavy like stone. "After 9 p.m, we have to be in here, in the bedroom, and we can't leave, not for anything, not for the bathroom, not for a drink, nothing. The door stays closed until sunrise." I stared, expecting a punchline that didn't come. "You're kidding, right? What if I have to pee?" Deadpan. "Pee now." His voice was sharp. He nodded toward an empty bottle on the desk. "After 9, you use that." Unnerved. The chuckle in my throat died halfway up. "Dude, that's insane. Why?" He shrugged, but it was stiff, performed, a pantomime of casual. "They're just super weird about security. Old house, you know. They think it's drafty." Lie, obvious. Downstairs, a clock began to chime. Bong! Leo's head snapped toward the door. Bong, he was on his feet. Bong, he crossed the room like a soldier on instinct. Bong, bong, bong. He slammed the door shut and drove a heavy steel bolt into place with a hard, metallic thunk. The sound was final, cold. There, he whispered, beads of sweat breaking across his forehead. We're good. Leo, what the hell is going on? I asked. Nothing, man. Just a weird rule. He refused to look at the door, instead turning the volume up until the game roared like a hurricane in the small room. But I didn't see the screen. I saw only the door, the bolted door, and I felt something stir inside me, a chill, a suspicion. This house wasn't quiet anymore. It was listening. It was waiting. An hour passed and there was no sound from the house. The only noises were from the game, the hum of electricity, and our own shallow breaths. Leo had started to relax, or pretended to. His movements grew looser, but not truly calm. He was pretending everything was okay. And maybe I was pretending too, because deep inside something just felt wrong.
You really need to tell your parents this is a certifiable way to raise a serial killer, I said, trying to laugh off the unease that curled in my stomach like smoke. Tell me about it, Leo muttered, a hollow echo of humor. Then, sudden alert. A noise. Thump. Thump. Soft, measured, deliberate. My heart stuttered. I turned toward the sound, freezing. What's that? I asked, voice thin. Leo didn't flinch, didn't pause. He stared at the screen, tapping buttons like a machine. It's nothing. House settling. Sharp denial. That's not the house settling, Leo. Silence. Then another sound. A dragging noise. Something heavy. Something broken. It slithered across the wood below, scraping like dead limbs on old bones. I muted the game. Okay, that's definitely not the house. Leo set the controller down, quietly. His face was bloodless in the blue glow of the paused screen. Panic leaking through. Just ignore it, Liam, please. It goes away if you ignore it. Wide-eyed. What? What goes away? Sudden voice from the hallway, a voice like velvet over a blade, a woman's voice, soft, familiar. Confusion, dread. Leo, honey. Stillness. I froze. The voice was his mother's. Leo, sweetheart, your father and I came home early. I brought you boys some warm cookies. Open the door. I turned to Leo, terrified. His skin was waxy. He was staring at the door like it might explode open, insisting, Leo, that's your mum, I whispered, half believing it myself. The voice continued, soothing, sweet. Don't be silly, sweetie. We're inside. I just baked your favourites, chocolate chip. They're getting cold. The scraping sound had stopped. Now it was just the voice. But realization, it didn't sound right. Too perfect. Like someone remembering her voice from a dream. Then came the knocking. A sound like raw meat hitting wood. Leo, Liam, are you boys all right in there? You're being awfully quiet. I turned to Leo. He didn't move, didn't blink, just raised a shaking finger to his lips and mouthed, Don't. Desperate. Leo, I mouthed back, that's your mum. But then the doorknob turned, once left, once right. Then it began to rattle. Rage bubbling. Boys, this isn't funny, the voice snapped. The sweetness was gone. Now it was brittle, cracked. Open the door. Boom. A heavy blow slammed against the wood. The whole frame groaned. Terror spikes. I scrambled backward, chest pounding, palms slick. My back hit the wall. The voice shifted again. It growled from deep in its throat. I know you are in the... Faster, angrier.
A thin, high-pitched whine leaped through the silence, like wind screaming through a cracked tomb.
From under the door, a black fluid seeped through, thick like oil. It smelled like rot, wet soil, corpses, the grave. Leo finally moved. He crawled under the blankets and vanished inside, shaking violently. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't, because the worst was still coming. On the other side of the door, the thing fell silent. But I knew, deep in my marrow, it wasn't gone. It was waiting, watching, listening. In the dark heart of the house, it crouched like hunger itself. I pressed my back against the wall and stared at the door. My breath was shallow. Leo, a trembling bundle of blankets, whimpered softly from the bed. For me, this was a night of fear. But for him, this was life. That old awful curiosity I've always had, the same one that's led me into more trouble than I care to remember, stirred inside me. A sick need to know. Don't look, don't look. But my hands moved anyway. I crept forward on stockinged feet. The wooden floor didn't creak, not this time. I reached the keyhole. "Liam, no," came Leo's voice from the bed, muffled by cotton. Don't look." But I would. I had to. I bent down, pressed my eye to the cold brass. At first nothing, just the dim hallway, drenched in moonlight filtering from a far window. Then it stepped into view. It wasn't human, not even close. Its limbs were long, like winter branches, crooked, wooden, impossibly thin. Its body was made of shadow and dust, swirling like smoke in a windless room. It wore a floral apron, Leo's mom's, stretched over its hollow chest. It wore a hunting cap that should have sat on his father's thick head. But its own head, just a void, a churning black clot where a face should be. In its stick-like fingers, it held a photograph. One I'd seen earlier, the family portrait. And it held that picture in front of its face, like a mask, using Leo's mother's smile as its own. That thing was trying to be them. Then it raised its free arm, a long twig-black limb, and began tapping softly on the door. Thump, thump, thump. I fell backward, crawling away from the door, a hand clamped over my mouth to keep from screaming. My stomach lurched, my mind spiraled. That wasn't something that entered the house. That was the house. A parasite, a shapeshifter, a mimic. It wore stolen things, keepsakes, memories, like a skin suit. Then it spoke again. "Liam, why are you hiding in there? Your mother is so worried about you." The voice, my mom's voice, the exact tone she used when I was sick, the exact warmth she carried when I was a kid, the sound of home, a memory weaponized, and it shattered me. "Let me in, Liam," it cooed. "I've come to take you home." I slid down the wall, shaking violently. A warm wetness pooled at my legs. Shame burned hot through my cheeks. I'd pissed myself. From the bed, Leo's trembling form peeked from the blankets. His eyes glistened red and puffy. He knew. The bottle. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a weird rule. It was survival. Scrappy. The sound of claws on wood. It was sharpening something, preparing. And all the while in my mother's voice it whispered, "Let me in, sweetheart. Just unlock the door. It's okay." And I broke. Tears streamed silently down my cheeks as I whispered, "Leo, what the hell is that?" No answer, just the sound of it scraping and whispering, and waiting. "Leo," I rasped, my throat dry and aching. "Wake up!" A shudder passed through the bed. Leo peeked out, his eyes swollen, red-rimmed, hollow. "Is it gone?" he whimpered. "No," I said, "it's not gone. And you're going to tell me what that thing is. Now, no more lies. What is it?" He flinched, paused. Then, he drew his knees to his chest. "I don't know what it is," he whispered. "We just call it the Nightman."
The room fell into stillness, a darkness not just of light, but of truth. And then he spoke. It's always been here, as long as my family has. His great-great-grandfather built this house, but the land was cursed, wrong. Even then, on the first night, there were sounds in the walls, cold spots, whispers. So they made a deal, a silent one. By day, the house was theirs, but from 9 p.m. till dawn, it belonged to something else. It gets lonely, Leo murmured. A tear cut a shining line down his cheek. It plays, pretends, builds itself out of things it finds, tries to look like us. The apron, the hat, the photo. But it's changing, Leo said. It used to just be there, make noises, whisper. Now, it wants in. His eyes met mine. It wants someone new. You brought me here. For it? No, he cried. I didn't want to, but my parents, they said it was getting too strong. That may be, if it had someone new, someone outside the family, maybe it would leave us alone. For a while. Everything fell into place. The sudden invite. His mother's shaking hands. His father's cold silence. That bolt on the door. They hadn't gone out. They were here.
Locked away in their room, praying it would take me. A sound from below, not whispering, not mimicry. Footsteps, heavy, wet, dragging, thump, drag, thump, drag. It wasn't pretending anymore. Leo's eyes grew wide. He pressed himself against the corner like a boy hiding from a storm. It's never done this before, he whispered. It's never tried to break the door down. Crack! A thunderous impact slammed into the wood. The bolt shrieked, the door shook. Crack! Bang! The frame groaned as another blow landed. Then, silence. The bolt gave, the door swung open, and there it was. Its body was assembled from the house itself. Floorboards for legs, rusted pipes for arms. Banisters formed a twisted chest, and inside that rib cage, my duffel bag, beating like a heart. Its head, the grandfather clock. The pendulum swung wildly behind the cracked glass, and when it spoke, Tim is Cup. Leo screamed. I staggered backward. The window! I shouted, grabbing his arm. Help me! We lunged for it, but the frame was sealed, painted shut. The bed! Use the bed! We shoved it over, built a barricade. The nightman stumbled, got caught in the sheets. But it roared, a sound like nails in a blender, and ripped through the mattress like paper. We're not going to make it, I muttered. Leo's eyes darted to the window. It has to be inside before sunrise, he whispered. That's the rule. The sun's the only thing that stops it. I looked. No sign of light, just endless black. And then, a sliver of hope, a flashlight. I dove, grabbed it, flicked it on. A beam of white struck the nightman. It staggered back, wailing like a banshee. The light unmade it. Its spoon hand fell apart. The floorboard leg cracked. The light! Leo cried. Keep it on him! I held that flashlight like a weapon, and the nightman slinked to the shadows, writhing at the edges of the room, waiting for our strength or batteries to die. And they did. The light began to flicker. It's dying, I whispered. Just a little longer, Leo begged. The nightman knew. It reared back, gathering itself. The flashlight failed. It charged. and in that same moment, a beam of sunlight pierced the window. It struck the creature's back.